Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spanish 2000 online here at King University. My name is Matthew Harrison, and I will be your instructor for this semester. That being said, this is a 100% online course. There are no in-person meetings required. However, I know that learning Spanish in general can be very difficult, not to mention learning it online. So I like to do what I can as an instructor to make your life easier and to explain things to the best of my ability. So this welcome video is intended to do that, just to kind of go through some of the general course policies and talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be doing this semester and hopefully make your lives a little bit easier. So, as I said, I'm Matthew Harrison. This is my email address. It is mharrison1@king.edu. Please don't forget the 1 there. mharrison1@king.edu. I do provide my cell number here in the event that you need to reach me. Um, Guys, I typically respond to emails within 24 to 48 hours, sometimes even less than that. I strive to really not be one of those professors who, you never hear from, they never get back to you. So I will be here to answer your questions anytime. But in the event that you have an emergency, you do have my cell phone number, but I do prefer email as the first form of communication. Um, that being said, we are here to continue our study of Spanish. Most of you guys, all of you, have had Spanish 1000, I assume, here at King. And many of you I've probably had before. I see some familiar faces on my roster, and I also see some new students. So it'll be interested to see how that goes. But as we look forward, you all used My Spanish Lab last semester, which comes with an e-text from Pearson. We'll be using that exact same book again. It is the Arriba textbook. This is the 7th edition. You, of course, do need My Spanish Lab access again. So most of you guys, I assume, if you knew that you were going to be taking Spanish 2000, you probably went ahead and purchased the whole package at the same time, which is awesome. You will need our course ID in order to get logged into My Spanish Lab, and I've included that for you here in red as well. Please make sure that you have a webcam as well. You will need a webcam in order to communicate this semester for many of our discussions and oral presentations that we'll do during each chapter. If you have an iPhone with basic recording abilities, that's plenty, or an Android, that's plenty. If you can do Snapchat, you will have enough for our class, okay? You, of course, need internet access because this is an online course, surprise, surprise, and then Word and PowerPoint for assignments. Okay? As we continue throughout the syllabus, our course is broken up into 5 different modules, one for each chapter that we'll be studying. There is chapter 6, chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10. Each of these have different vocab and grammar topics we'll be discussing this semester. As far as how your grade will be evaluated, you do have 4 journals. Those are composition assignments. I'll be telling you about all these in detail in just a moment. You also have a chapter test for each chapter, and those tests will be administered through My Spanish Lab. You'll have assignments due weekly for My Spanish Lab, 4 oral presentations, 2 discussion boards, an oral interview at the end of the course, which will be conducted via Skype, and then, of course, a final exam administered through My Spanish Lab. So let's talk about each of those assignments in a little bit more detail. So the journals will be assigned on Canvas. You'll be able to see the topic there, and they will have something to do with the grammar and vocabulary that you're learning. And you'll have to write a response and submit that response to me via Canvas, and I will read that and get that back to you. I did provide a prompt for grading those journals, and this is available on Canvas, but since I have it here, I'll go ahead and pull it up for you. You are graded based on your use of vocabulary from the chapter and using it correctly, not using any English at all, how correctly you use the grammar in the chapter, the content, making sure that you follow the directions, you've answered the question fully, that you have not used a translator, that your thoughts are organized, that you meet the minimum number of words, and that you've included the required number of photos. And I will tell you that on the prompt, how many words you need and how many photos you need. Um, Guys, I am really, really sensitive to the use of translators, so please make sure you do not put yourself in a situation where you've used a translator for an assignment. I want to know what you know and what you're learning from me in this course, not what Google Translate can do, okay? I can tell within about 30 seconds from opening a student submission if they use Google Translate or not. Guys, you will receive a 0 in the event that you've used Google Translate, and you also will be sent to the Vice President of Academic Affairs to discuss plagiarism. So please make sure that you are doing your own work. I would much rather see you turn in a page full of broken Spanish that's horrible than something that you just typed into Google Translate. Okay, you'll get a much better grade for genuinely trying than you would with Google Translate. So there's a journal grading rubric for that. As far as the chapter tests go, you'll have one of those at the end of each module. And for each of the chapters, like I said, those will be administered through My Spanish Lab. You do have assignments in My Spanish Lab due every week, and I'll talk to you kind of how the course is broken up in a minute. But basically, the first week of each module, you'll be doing assignments related to vocabulary. The second week, you'll be doing assignments related to grammar. And the third week, you'll be doing assignments related to culture and, of course, completing your exams. So that's kind of how that works. You'll have an oral presentation due during the second week of each module. And these oral presentations will utilize a program called Flipgrid. If you've never heard of Flipgrid, it's pretty cool. It's like a virtual chat room for our course, basically like a discussion board, if you've ever done those in an online course. But the discussion will take place with your face. And we will be using that program, so I will give you a prompt of things you have to talk about, and you will have up to 5 minutes. It should not take you that long. Usually these are around a minute to a minute and a half long. But you'll have that time to record yourself answering those questions. You can stop and start and record and re-record as many times as you need to until you're happy with your submission. And then you'll submit it and upload it for your classmates to see. And you'll be responsible for engaging in conversation with at least 2 of your classmates and their oral presentations. And these are usually really fun things about things that you like to talk about, like your favorite foods and favorite beverages, things that are interesting generally for students. So you'll have one of those during the second week of each module, and they'll all take place via Flipgrid. You do have 2 discussion boards. One takes place during Flipgrid as well. It'll be due this first week. It's an introductory discussion where you just tell us a little bit about yourself and get to know your peers. The other one is a summary discussion that you'll do at the end of the course. Your oral interview, I said, will take place via Skype. I prepared a Quizlet, which gives you some practice questions for the oral interview. My advice is to practice with that Quizlet a little bit each week, and I'm not saying you have to spend hours on it. Maybe 15 minutes a week. Just flip through the Quizlet on your phone whenever you have time. Practice those questions so that when you get to the interview, you're prepared. Your oral presentations will also help you prepare for that as well. And then, of course, your final exam will take place during that last week of the course, and we'll cover everything that we've learned. So in total, this will account for 100% of your grade. Before you can begin any assignments, you will have what's called a course expectation agreement to complete. You're required to get a 100% before it will unlock Canvas for you. As you open up our course here under the modules, you can see the course expectations agreement as the first one. You'll just click on it and answer those. I think there's 5 questions. Just answer those, you get 100, and it will unlock your week 1 assignments, all of your assignments really. Okay. So we talked about that. As far as grading goes, guys, I try to get everything graded and back to you within 1 week or less. That being said, there are unforeseen things that can happen and so forth, but I always try to get things back to you as quickly as possible. If you have a question about your grade on anything, you have 1 week to let me know about whatever issue you may have, any questions about the grade. After that 1 week period is up, there will be no changes or discussion. So make sure you take that into account. This is an online course, so unlike Other courses, in-person courses that may follow the inclement weather policy. When King is closed for snow or for the weekend or office hours are closed, whatever it may be, our course is still going online. So it's your responsibility each week to keep up with those assignments. You have something due every week from now all the way until the first week of May. So please make sure that you are following the assignment schedule and the tentative course calendar, which I'll show you in just a moment. Okay, I do expect you to participate in the course each week for you to be doing your assignments. There are no late assignments accepted in online courses in the Spanish department. That's not my policy, that's a departmental policy for every online Spanish course. So there will be absolutely no late assignments accepted under any circumstances. So please make sure you're participating. Missing a week or two could cause you to fail the course in its entirety. So please make sure you keep up with your assignments. As I said, if you have questions, my email address is at the top of the syllabus. You're always welcome to email me anytime you have questions. You can see a grading rubric here for how your grade will be calculated on the syllabus. We've already talked about translators and plagiarism. If you're a student with a disability who needs any kind of special accommodations, please let me know. I'll be happy to do whatever I can to help you. In the event that we need to make any changes to assignments, I don't foresee that happening, but in the event that we do have to change something, I will let you know via Canvas email. Going back to that structure that we talked about, this is probably the most important part of today's video, so please listen carefully. I already told you that our course is broken up into 5 modules. That's 1 chapter per module, chapters 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 within those 5 modules. During the first week of every module, you are purely just studying vocabulary. So you're reading the text with those pages that involve the vocab. There's like 2 or 3 pages you have to read, and then you're practicing with the vocab on our Quizlet site. I did make a Quizlet, which I'll show you here, for Spanish 1000 online, and it includes everything. They're all together all the way through. Here's Spanish 1, and then Spanish 2 starts here. Chapter 6, Chapter 7, Chapter 8, Chapter 9, and Chapter 10. So you have all those flashcards. There's also the preguntas and respuestas, which are those questions you'll see for your oral interview that you should be practicing with for a few minutes each week. So as you are, let me minimize this, as you are studying your vocabulary with the Quizlet, you can also take a look at those very short little videos and very short little Quizlet flashcards. So those are there for you. The second thing you'll be doing after you've read the vocab and you've studied using the Quizlet, you'll also be watching some videos from some King University students named Eli and Vanessa, and they will help sort of introduce this vocab for you each week. And at the end of their videos, they usually post some questions for you. You'll be responsible for answering those questions in week 2, but in week 1, all you have to do is actually watch the videos and make sure that you are understanding the use of the vocab. And after that, you have some My Spanish Lab assignments to complete. Those assignments are due by Sundays at 11:59 p.m. So one more time in summary, the first week of every module is the same. Okay, so this will be like weeks 1, week 4, weeks 8, so on and so forth, all the way through the first week of every module. You will be studying the vocab in the book, just reading those pages, practicing with those using the Quizlet, also looking at the respuestas and preguntas section of the Quizlet to study for your oral interview. You'll be viewing the videos from Eli and Vanessa, which are very, very short, like 2 and 3 minutes. And you'll be doing some assignments in My Spanish Lab. Okay, so that's very simple. Same thing every time. In the second week of every module, you will be studying the grammar in your book for whatever grammar topic we're studying that week. You'll be reading that page in your book. And then, I'll be honest, guys, the grammar in Spanish 2 is really difficult. It's a lot harder than Spanish 1. So I also made some extra grammar videos for you to watch. And those are posted on Canvas. And you will be able to go through and watch those videos every week where I've done examples for you and I've sort of hit the highlights from the chapter. I really encourage you to watch those repeatedly if you have to make sure you understand the grammar. So like I said, during that second week, you'll be studying the grammar pages in the chapter and watching that grammar video. After that, you'll be responsible for creating a rough draft of your oral presentation. Okay, and you'll have one of these in the second week of every module, and for a total of 5. And as I said, each module or each oral presentation has 2 parts. Part 1 of the oral presentation is you responding to those questions from Eli and Vanessa from the previous week. So after you've watched their videos and you've listened to the questions they ask you, you just need to type your answers in complete sentences to those questions. And that's part 1 of your oral presentation. Part 2 is you actually answering a series of questions about yourself, and you're going to present that in an audio format later. But in part 2 of the rough draft, you're really just writing your response to those questions. Okay? So in summary, like I said, in week 2, you're going to read the grammar in the book, watch the grammar video, and do your rough draft of the oral presentation, which is due to me by Wednesday night at 11:59 in Canvas. Okay? On Wednesday night at 11:59, that is due. So for part 1, like I said, you're just answering and writing Eli and Vanessa's questions in complete sentences. Part 2, you're answering and writing your response to whatever questions I ask you that week. You're just writing those out and submitting those to me. Now, the reason that I have you do this and turn it in by Wednesday is because on Thursday, I'm going to go through and read all those that you submitted, and I'm going to give you non-graded feedback, like free feedback. Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't affect your grade. I'm going to give you feedback on part 2 on what it is that you're saying about yourself, okay? And then you will have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to then go back and correct anything that you need to fix about the oral presentation in your writing before you make your video on Flipgrid and upload it to the class before Sunday evening at 11:59. Okay, and then in addition to that, you will have some videos on some assignments due on My Spanish Lab that you will need to submit about the grammar that you saw in the video. Okay, so one more time, in week 1, you are just going through and studying the vocab, reading the vocab in the book. You are practicing the vocab on the Quizlets. You're reviewing the videos from Eli and Vanessa, just watching them, and doing assignments in My Spanish Lab. The second week of each module, you're reading the grammar in the book, watching the grammar videos that I've posted. You're submitting your rough draft, including both parts 1 and 2, to me by Wednesday at 11:59. Again, part 1 of the oral presentation every week will be your response to Eli and Vanessa's questions from the previous week. Part 2 will be your response to those questions for yourself that I post. Those are due to me in writing by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. You'll submit those via Canvas Dropbox. Once you've done that on Thursdays, I will go through and read parts 1 and 2. I will give you feedback on part 2 only, and then you can make any corrections to part 2 in writing, and then you'll upload yourself speaking what you've written in part 2 to the Flipgrid discussion. You'll be responsible for replying to your classmates before 11:59 p.m. on Sundays. You'll also have My Spanish Lab assignments related to the grammar that you saw in the video and read about that week as well, which is also due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Okay? During the third week of each module, you're going to be reading about the cultural elements from whatever country our chapter takes place in the book. You'll have some My Spanish Lab assignments related to those cultural elements. They're very short and very easy. Your exam will also be due during week 3 for that module by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, and your journal for that module will also be due on Sunday by 11:59 p.m. I'll give you specific dates for every assignment and a very detailed schedule in the tentative course calendar, which we'll look at in just a moment. Your grading rubric is here for the journal, and you also have a grading rubric for those oral presentations. Okay, so that's there for you. We've talked about the syllabus. Guys, the biggest thing I can stress for you is just making sure that you are turning your assignments in on time and keeping up with things. As you look at Canvas here, you do have a course expectation agreement. I told you about that already. You need to make sure that you sign that before it unlocks anything else. Our syllabus that we just viewed together is here, and the tentative course calendar that we spoke about is here. So go ahead and click on that and open it. When you do it, looks like this. As I said, we have 5 modules, one for each chapter. So module 1, we're going to be covering chapter 6, titled Buen Provecho, same as Bon Appetit, but in Spanish. You can see for week 1, we're covering vocabulary. Week 2, we're doing grammar. Week 3, we're doing culture, and you have your test. Same thing, when you go to module 2, we're going to do in those same things. On chapter 7, vocab first, then grammar in the next week, and then culture and a test. And then same thing, vocab, grammar, culture, and a test. It keeps going in that same pattern to hopefully keep you organized. So what I recommend doing is printing this out, putting it up on your wall, highlighting it, marking it off as you complete it. Put all these deadlines in your phone calendar so you don't miss any deadlines. You have them all there. But something that I will also be sending out a weekly announcement email telling you all of this. I basically just put all this in an email and say, okay, this is what's due this week. It's due on this day. Don't forget it. And I send that email out through Canvas just to kind of keep you organized as well. So you'll have that as a resource, but you do have the ability to work ahead within each module. So after week 1, if you want to go ahead and do week 1, 2, and 3 and just knock it out, cool. You can't go past the module. So you can finish module 1 all in a week or 2, but you can't go on to modules 2 through 5 until they actually open. So, but if you know you have a busy week coming up and you want to work a week ahead, you're welcome to do that. So for week 1, just to give you an idea of what we're doing, I told you you're going to be reading. These are the things you should be reading in the chapter. The page numbers are here. There's some PowerPoints on Canvas I'd like for you to review, and in My Spanish Lab you have some tutorials to review as well. There's a welcome video from Eli and Vanessa that you need to watch. These are hyperlinks, so you can just click on them. It'll open it for you. We'll watch this together really quickly here, just to give you a summary.
Bienvenidos a la clase de Español 2000. Yo soy Vanessa.
Yo soy Eli.
In the next few weeks, we'll be helping you guys out with Spanish.
Os ayudaremos en la clase de español en las próximas semanas.
Let's get started.
Empecemos.
Buena suerte.
Okay, so that was your welcome video from Eli and Vanessa, so you can go and mark that off as being completed. You have other introductory vocab videos to watch from Eli and Vanessa as well. There's 4 very short videos. They're just about as short as the one you just watched. So watch those 4. And then there's 4 separate videos with questions that Eli and Vanessa are asking you. Now, during week 2, you'll be responsible for answering these questions, but as of right now, you're only responsible for watching the videos and understanding what they're saying. Now, if you want to go and answer the questions and have it ready for next week, totally welcome to do that. Okay, that's a great way to work ahead and be prepared for next week. You should be reviewing those long-term project directions and practicing using the Quizlet. Go ahead and click on this as well. It takes you straight to our Quizlet site. With those questions, you're going to be responsible for answering in the oral interview. So it poses the question and then the answer. The question and the answer. Your oral interview will cover questions both from chapters, your oral interview will cover both questions from Spanish 1000 and Spanish 2000. So make sure that you are prepared for that, okay? During week 1, you're also responsible for introducing yourself via Flipgrid. Your initial post is due by Friday at 11:59 p.m. and you need to respond to 2 classmates, but those replies are not due until Sunday at midnight, or 11:59. So for example, if I click on the Flipgrid here, just so you can see what it's like, we'll be using these for all the oral interviews. If you have a computer with a webcam, you can do this on your computer. The easiest thing usually is just for students to download the Flipgrid app. Mostly everybody has some kind of smartphone like an iPhone or an Android now, so doing it on the app is a lot easier than on the computer, I think, but whatever works best for you. As you've scrolled down, it tells you, Hola y bienvenidos a Español 2000. Hello and welcome to Spanish 2000. Happy you're here. Many familiar faces, some are new faces. Take time to answer these questions, and it gives you 5 questions. ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿Por qué estás aquí? Why are you here? You'll answer these 3 questions in Spanish, and I've kind of started the stem for you here. You're going to answer with me llamo, soy de, and estoy aquí por qué, and answer those questions in Spanish. And then numbers 4 and 5, it asks you to tell us something interesting about you. It can be your major, things you like to do in your free time, your goals, what do you want to do with your life. And number 5, I want you to reflect on why it's important to study languages and other cultures. When you're ready to record your response, scroll down and click this little plus sign here, and go ahead and just record your response. Please make sure to use your real name in the title so that I know who you are. Since I haven't met you yet, I need your name in Canvas to be the same as your name on this Flipgrid. Okay, and then once you've posted your video, it'll let you record it and everything. You'll get an email confirmation from Flipgrid when your video has been submitted, so you know it's gone through. And then you'll be able to see all your classmates on there and their faces, and you can just go ahead and reply to them. It's kind of like a Snapchat, but in a little chat room sort of thing. They're kind of fun. They're interesting. I think over the course of the semester, you'll enjoy them. So this just gets you started with the introduction. So do that. Remember, initial post by Friday and 2 replies by Sunday. Okay. Make sure you've watched all the videos from Eli and Vanessa. There's 8 videos total, 4 of them just doing stuff, and then 4 of them asking questions for you. You can go ahead and answer these questions if you'd like in preparation for week number 2. You do have some assignments due in My Spanish Lab for week 1 as well. And if you open our My Spanish Lab site and click on the assignment calendar, you can see here there's a little, I think that's a clock, on the 19th. As you click on it, it's going to show you a list of all the assignments that are due there on the 19th for you. They're all due by Sunday night at 11:59. Okay, please make sure you take care of those guys. One more time, I just want to emphasize that late assignments are not accepted. So if you do not have the Flipgrid done by Friday and your 2 replies by Sunday, you will get a 0. If your My Spanish Lab assignments are not done by Sunday, you will have a 0. So please make sure that you keep up with those guys. That's not my policy. That is the Spanish department policy, and I have to enforce that. So please make sure that you are staying on top of your assignments. Okay. Like I said, you have this for the whole semester, so you can see it all the way down. So we talked about that. Here in Canvas as well, I've posted some resources for you. Here's a link to the Quizlet site with all the flashcards for the vocab. Here's a link to the oral interview questions if you need those, your grading rubrics for the journal and the oral interview, a link to the My Spanish Lab site, some technical help stuff if you have any technical issues and need help, that's where you go. Some online Spanish-English dictionaries. Like I said, I absolutely hate Google Translate with a passion, but I understand that being a non-native speaker, you need to look up a word every now and then. And here you have some resources to do that that are very helpful. If you're having trouble with the grammar, like I said, you have the grammar videos that I made, and then these sites have specific grammar practice activities as well. Okay, you can go ahead and click on week 1 and you see everything that we've talked about is here. I think sometimes students get overwhelmed when they see everything here. So that's why you have that tentative course calendar, where it's all written out for you to review. And then here you have your introductions, what you should be accomplishing. You have that welcome message we already saw from Eli and Vanessa, your link to the discussion board, what you should be reading and the page numbers, the Chapter 6 PowerPoints, all of Eli and Vanessa's videos and their questions. You see a video and questions below, video and questions below. It tells you which assignments you have to do in My Spanish Lab, and then of course you have a link to the long-term project and the Quizlet. So that's all there for you. Like I said, I will be posting announcements for you. You'll get an email when I post them, but it'll tell you what to do for the first week, what to do in general. It's always listed here for you. I try to keep it very organized so that it helps you. As you look at week 2, just so you know this for next week, when it comes time for you to submit your rough draft of your oral presentation, there's a drop box here for oral presentation number 1 draft. That's where you're going to submit the rough draft. Okay. When it comes time in week 3 for you to submit your journal, it's here, journal 1. Okay. And like I said, your test will take place in My Spanish Lab, and they'll show up here just like a regular assignment. For your test, you have only 1 attempt, and from the time that you open it, it starts counting. So please make sure you can't open it and look at it and close it back out. It'll count as your attempt, and you'll have a 0. So please make sure that you are prepared for that. Okay, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to let me know. Like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. You'll be able to see your grades here as well using the grades feature. And guys, I'm very excited to be here. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful semester, and take care. Thank you.